In this video, you are going to learn how to edit like Calop, the famous photographer on Instagram, and I'll show you exactly how I turned this image into something like this. Coming up. Hi everyone, I am HarshVardhan and welcome to another superb episode. This is the second video in the series of how to edit like famous photographers. In this particular video or in this particular tutorial, we are going to learn how to edit like the Calop. If you are not aware who is Calop, Calop is a famous Instagram photographer, or I would say the artist, and his work is really amazing. I was getting lots of requests from my followers that how to create or edit the image like him, so I decided to create this video. The earlier video, if you have not watched, to watch that video as well. Link of that video is in the description section below, or you can click this I button and watch that video. And you can download all the resource files or the files which I used in this particular tutorial from the link in the description section below. And before we go any further, please do subscribe to this channel if you have not already subscribed. And to subscribe, just click the big red button below this video, and don't forget to click the bell icon as well. That way you will not miss any video from this channel, because on this channel you will find lots of tutorials related to photography, photo editing and much more. So having said that, let's get started. Alright, so now we'll take this image, and first of all we are going to create a duplicate copy of it by pressing Ctrl J Command J, so that our original image remains the same. And thereafter we'll go to the adjustment layers and create one curves adjustment from here, and in the curves adjustment we'll create a point in the middle, and we'll click and drag it inside to make this image look darker, something like this, you can see. And thereafter we'll come down over here and create a new blank layer, and we'll change its layer blend mode to color dodge, and we'll come down over here on the brush tool, select the brush tool and make sure this is the soft as brush with 0 hardness. This is the default brush, and make sure the opacity is around 40%, and this foreground color should be the orange. So you can select the orange color, or you can come to the swatches panel, which is over here. If it is not shown over here, go to the windows and select the swatches. That way it would be visible either over here or somewhere on this panel. And thereafter just paint on the face to make it glow, something like this, and little bit on the neck and over here on the hand, and on this side little bit, and over here. And once we have painted this, thereafter we are going to restrict it only to the highlights. So for this purpose we'll come over here on the blank space and just double click it, and that's going to open up the blend F option. And over here we will click on this underlying layer and drag this slider towards the highlights, so that it only affects the highlights. But as you can see, this is giving us the weird result. In order to fix that, we will press Alt or Option and split this slider into two and drag it back. So that way we'll be having a gradual result to something like this. And thereafter let's adjust it a little bit more and we'll press OK. So now we have got little bit highlights painted on the face. If you want, you can even change its layer blend mode to, let's say, color dose. I think color dose is looking much better. So let's go for the color dose, and thereafter let's place the leaf. So this is the leaf, and let's resize it. You can download all these assets from the link in the description section below, and zoom in, and let's rotate it, and let's make it little bit bigger, and let's place it maybe over here and press enter. And now we are going to mask it out from the finger. So what we'll do, we'll create a new mask, layer mask from here, and then we'll choose the brush tool, and this time the foreground color should be the black. So this color should be the black and opacity should be 100, and just paint on this. And that way we will be able to remove it and keep it something like this. Alright, and now it's time to glow this leaf. First let me just save it so that I don't miss my work. Alright, so now let's create one blank layer and choose the brush tool, and this time again choose the orange color and change its layer blend mode to the linear dose, and with around 40% opacity make the size of the brush larger and paint on the leaf. Okay, and let's choose the white color this time, and with the low opacity around, let's say 20%, paint little bit over here. And if you want, you can even clip this to this layer. So by pressing Alt or Option and clicking between these two layers, so that way now this layer is clipped to this only, so that way it would be visible only this on this layer, so it will affect only this layer. All right, so you can see now we have glowed this, and let's click on the leaf layer, and by pressing Ctrl and clicking on this new layer icon, we can create a new blank layer under it, and again this time with the orange color, this time less saturated orange, and will paint with 100% opacity once, and you might not be able to see it, but we have painted this dot, you can see. And then we'll press Ctrl T, Command T, and by pressing Alt or Shift and clicking on one of the corner, we can just resize it or scale it up so that this light spreads around it. Okay, so that we get this idea of, or this look of glowing leaf. Okay, so now we have got our leaf as well, and now let's try to add some more light on the face. So for that purpose we'll go to the adjustment layer and select one curves adjustment, and this time we'll click on the top over here, you can see on the highlights, one in the middle, and we'll click and drag it up, and click and drag this one up as well, so that way we'll get more light on the entire image, but we want it to restrict only to the face. So for that purpose we'll again go to the FX panel by clicking on this blank icon or blank space, sorry, and then coming down over here on the underlying layer, and we'll click and drag this slider towards the highlights. So by pressing Alt or Option, you can click and split it between these two, and thereafter we'll press OK. So now we have got more highlights on the face, but it is even spreaded over here. So what we'll do, we'll click on this mask icon, and press Ctrl I or Command I to invert it. And now with the brush tool, make sure this color is white, and we'll paint on the face, okay, so that it only affects on the face and little bit on the hands. And make sure your opacity is little low this time, around 20%, so you can press 2 on your keyboard to get the 20% opacity, and little bit on the leaf as well. So now you can see we have restricted this light only to the face, and if we want we can even lower down its fill from here. So let's lower down the fill, and that way we can even restrict it even more. All right, so this is how we have got this little bit more light. But if we want it to be little warmer, so we'll again go to the layers panel or this layer adjustment by clicking on this icon, and thereafter coming over here in the RGB panel or in the channels panel, we'll click and select the red, and we'll click and drag little bit red in the highlights, and thereafter we'll select the green and click and drag it down, so we get the yellow. This way we can get the yellow in the highlights. And then let's go for the blue and click and drag it down so that it gets a little bit warmer, and add a little bit blue or something like this. All right, so now we have got this kind of a result, and this way the face looks even normal. And now we'll place our butterfly over here, and we'll do the same thing with that as well. So this is the butterfly image, and let me place it over here, resize it to make it smaller, something like this. Place it over here and press Ctrl T, and let me rotate it a little bit, and then zoom in. First of all, let's make it blurry little bit, so we'll go to the filter, blur, and choose the Gaussian blur, and let's blur it out little bit, something like this, not too much, and press OK. And now we are going to glow it. So again, for that purpose, we'll create a new blank layer by clicking over here, and we'll clip it to the butterfly only, and again choose the brush tool, and this time orange color, and let's say this one, and change its layer blend mode to color dose, and with the brush tool let's paint on the over here, and let's try to change its layer blend mode to linear dose, or I think color dose is looking good. And let's create one more layer, and this time select the white color or yellow color, and with 20% opacity let's paint over here, change its layer blend mode to linear dose or color dose, okay, and let's clip it even to this layer so that it only affects this butterfly, okay. And let's choose the white color this time, and let's paint it little bit on this side, and under this butterfly layer we'll create one layer by pressing Ctrl or Command, and with the orange color, this time this orange color will, with 100% opacity, we'll click once and then Ctrl T, and we'll spread this out, and let's make it something like this and press enter, and then we'll just refine it from here. So we'll choose the eraser tool and erase it from little bit over here, Oops. Let me lower down the opacity to, let's say, 20%. Okay, so now we have got the glow even in this butterfly. So now we are going to group all of these. So we'll select all of these by pressing shift, selecting first one and selecting all of these, and press Ctrl G, Command G, and we'll call them butterfly. So now we have got the butterfly, and now we'll create a duplicate copy of the butterfly. So we'll press Ctrl T or Command T, and then we'll press Ctrl T and resize it, rotate it a little bit, and reposition it somewhere else. So let me place it over here, you can see, and then we'll go down and go to the butterfly layer, which is over here, you can see, and in this we'll click on this arrow, and it would show us the smart filter Gaussian blur, as we have applied the Gaussian blur on this. So we'll just double click it, and that's going to open up the Gaussian blur option, and this time we'll increase it a little bit more. Okay, so something like this, and we'll press OK. So basically we are trying to make it more blurry, and let's create one more duplicate copy of it, and with the move tool let's place it somewhere like this. Press Ctrl T, rotate it and resize it, and create one more copy. Press Ctrl J, and let's place it maybe over here, and Ctrl T, and let's rotate it to something like this, resize it, make it even smaller. Okay, and let me see, in the original, yes, I have placed 3 or 4. Okay, and if you want, you can create one more duplicate copy of it by pressing Ctrl J, Command J, and let me drag it to this side. Press Ctrl T, let's resize it to something like this, and press enter. Okay, now our basic image is ready, and now we are going to color grade this image. So for that purpose we'll be using the teal and orange look Photoshop action. If it is not shown over here, you can download this action from the link in the description section below, and thereafter what you have to do, you have to go to the actions panel. If it is not visible over here, go to the Windows and select the actions, and that way it would be visible over here. And if you click on this hamburger menu and click on the button mode, by default your actions would look like this, and thereafter you need to click on this hamburger menu once again and select the load actions, and thereafter you need to browse the file which you have downloaded, teal and orange look new HarshVardhanArt, and then select the load, and that way it would be visible over here. This is the teal and orange. Okay, you can play it from here as well, but I prefer the button mode, so you can go to this option and select the button mode, and that way it would be visible on the bottom, and you have to click on this option once and this action would start to play. First it's going to give you a message that you need to change the temperature to increase or decrease the effect. I'm sorry for this spelling mistake. And thereafter you need to press continue, and it's going to launch the camera raw, and in the camera raw you need to come over here and adjust this temperature according to your liking. So if you click and drag it back, you can get the desired effect. If you want more effect, you can drag it to this side, and if you don't want that much of effect, just keep it something like this. I think I would prefer something like this, and thereafter I'll press OK. Then one more dialog box would open, and this time it would say that if you want, you can even lower down its opacity to adjust the effects, but we are not going to do this. So I'll press continue, and if you want, you can even lower down the opacity from here, so that way it would be less intense. All right, but I'm going to go for the full, and one more time I will create one curves adjustment. So I'll go to the adjustment layers and select the curves adjustment and click over here to create 1 point in the shadows and 1 point in the highlights, and we'll click and drag it up and click and drag it down. So basically we are going to create a very slight S curve, so that way this image would have more contrast and boosted colors. But if you don't want that much of highlights, we can adjust it back. So you can see now we have got more contrast and this image has now more boosted colors. All right, and now I will create one more adjustment layer, and this time I feel that this is too red, so I will create a hue and saturation adjustment layer, and I would select this channel, red channel, from the channels panel, and I will lower down its saturation so that I get less saturated colors, especially the red one. Okay, and now I want it to restrict only to the face or the dress, but I don't want it to lower down the intensity of the leaf. So I'll choose the brush tool and I will press Ctrl I to invert this mask to the black, and with the white color and soft opacity around 20%, with the white color I will paint on the face so that it lowers down the saturation of the red color from the face. You can see, and now let's add a little bit more warmness on the face. So once again I'll create one more blank layer, and this time I'm going to choose the, let's say, yellow color, and let's paint on the face and on the leaf and on the hand. So I'm painting with the 20% opacity, and little bit on this side and little bit on the face and on the hand, and little bit on these butterflies. Okay, and we'll once again restrict it to the highlights. So we'll click on the blank space and it would open up the layer FX panel, and we'll press Alt or Option and drag this underlying layer slider to this side, to the highlight side, and change its layer blend mode to, let's say, color dose or linear dose, or let's go for the soft light. I think soft light is not working, so let's go for the normal, and let's lower down its fill opacity to something like this and press OK. So now we have got little bit more warmness on the face, and now this is the time to glow these backgrounds. So for that purpose we'll create a new blank layer and change its layer blend mode to the linear dose, and with the same yellow color we'll paint over here a little bit on these dots, which you can see. And let's try to change this layer blend mode to color dose, how it looks, or screen. I think linear dose is looking good. And then create one more layer, this time again change this layer blend mode to linear dose, and this time we'll choose the white color and we'll paint little bit white on these glowing things. Okay, so you have to be random in order to get the better result. Alright, and finally I will create one more layer and place one over here, and I will glow this leaf even further. So I'll select this orange color, place it once, and change its layer blend mode to, let's say, color dose, or let's say linear dose, or let's say try soft light. I think soft light is looking good. Press Ctrl T, and by pressing Alt and Shift and drag it outside to spread it a little bit, and we have got little bit, you can see, very teeny tiny glow. And let's paint the same on these butterflies as well. Okay, and let's paint a little bit on the face. And there is dots on the face, so let's remove it. Create a new blank layer, select the clone stamp tool, or let's say, let me select this one, spot healing brush tool, and make sure the sample all layers is checked from the top, and paint on these. Okay, press Ctrl 0, and let's save your work, and let me purge my memories so that I get some free RAM. Alright, so now I got this one, and now we are going to make it crop for the Instagram. So for that purpose, I'll create a stamp copy. So by pressing Ctrl Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E, we can create a merge copy, and thereafter we'll press the crop option, or we can press C on our keyboard, and from this top we need to select this preset as 4:5 ratio, and then we can resize our image. Let's cover the everything. So now we have got something like this, and press this check mark. And by the way, you can even go for the content aware option. So let me just try to do this once again, and there is a content aware option. Let's see what it does. So click on this content aware crop, this is a new feature, and press enter, and let's see it would try to fill this gap or not. Let's see, and boom, it has already done the job for us. You can see it has already filled the transparent space with the automatic pixels, and there is a problem little bit over here, so we can fix that very easily. But let me show you if somehow this option is not available for you. So let me go undo it, and if you have got this kind of a result, then you need to come over here on the marquee selection tool, which is over here, or you can simply press M on your keyboard and zoom in a little bit and make the selection of this part. Okay, and thereafter press Ctrl T, Command T, and click and drag it to spread it on this side, these pixels. And similarly for this as well, make a selection of this area and press Ctrl T, Command T, and click and drag, and that way we can expand these pixels. All right, and you can see there is a little bit problem over here. So you can easily fix that by selecting the patch tool from here, or you can simply press J and Shift, and if you keep on pressing Shift and J, you will get this patch tool, and thereafter you can select this one and make sure the sample all layers is selected and click and drag it on this side. And if you want to remove this even further, so remove this, click and place it over here. So now we have got something like this. All right, this one is looking much better. And now it's time finally to sharp the image. So for that purpose, we'll create a stamp copy again, or we can create a duplicate copy. We have already got a stamp copy over here, you can see. So we'll press Ctrl J, Command J, and then we'll change this layer blend mode to the linear dose, which is linear light, and then we'll go to the filter, other, and choose the high pass and choose the radius of 1.2 and press OK. And that way you can see our entire image sharp, but we don't want the entire image to be sharp. So for that purpose, we'll create a mask layer over here by pressing Alt or Option. So that's going to create a black mask. So that means this layer is completely hidden. So we'll choose the brush tool, and with the white color, with the 100% opacity, we'll paint on the face, and that way it will apply only wherever we are going to paint. On the lips a little bit, on the hairs, on the dress, on the sleeve, on the hands a little bit, and maybe on the dress. Okay, so it has made it even more sharper. And there is one here over here. Let's fix this one as well. Create a new blank layer and use the spot healing brush tool. Make sure the sample all layers is checked, and then click and paint on this here, and click and paint on this here, on this side as well, until you get the perfect result. And there is one more here, paint over that as well. And one over here, let's paint over there as well. I think this is fine. And one is over here. And if you think you have over sharpened her teeth, go back to the layer mask, and with the black color, choose the brush tool and lower down the opacity to around 40% and paint over here. Alright, so now this is our final result. So let me group all these editings by pressing Shift and selecting all of these, and by pressing Ctrl G to group them together, or Command G, and let me show you full screen. So this is our final result, and you can see we have started from this image and we have turned it into something like this. So this is how I did this from this image and turn it into something like this. So thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hit the like button. If you did not like the video, hit the dislike button. If you have any question or if you want to say something, leave that in the comment section below. And all the exercise files or all the assets which I used in this tutorial. You can download those from the link in the description section below. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, please consider so, because here you will find lots of exciting tutorials on photography, photo editing and much more like this. And to subscribe, just once again click on the big red button below this video and don't forget to click the bell icon as well. That way you will not miss any new video from my channel. So thank you so much. Bye bye. See you in the next episode. Till then, keep shooting and unleash the creative in you.